Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. So we are reading from the book Coming Back by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So we're gonna start chapter 5, The Soul's Secret Journey. One life is just a flash in time. From time immemorial, the living entity travels in the different species of life and the different planets almost perpetually. This process is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Under the spell of Maya, everyone is wandering throughout the universe on the carriage of body offered by the material energy. Materialistic life involves a series of actions and reactions. It is a long film spool of actions and reactions, and one lifespan is just a flash in such a reactionary show. When a child is born, it is to be understood that his particular type of body is the beginning of another set of activities. And when an old man dies, it is to be understood that one set of reactionary activities is finished. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.31-44. You get the body of your choice. The living entity creates his own body by his personal desires, and an external energy of Lord supplies him with exact form by which he can enjoy his desires to the fullest extent. The tiger wanted to enjoy the blood of another animal. Therefore, by the grace of the Lord, the material energy supplied him the body of the tiger, which facilitated for enjoying blood from another animal. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.9.2. Death means forgetting your last life. After death, one forgets everything about the present bodily relationships. We have a little experience of this at night when we go to sleep. While sleeping, we forget everything about this body and body relations, although this forgetfulness is a temporary situation for only a few hours. Death is nothing but sleeping for a few months in order to develop another term of bodily engagement, which we are awarded by the law of nature according to our aspiration. Therefore, one has only to change the aspiration during the course of this present body, and for this there is need of training in the current duration of human life. This training can be begun at any stage of life or even a few seconds before death. But the usual procedure is for one to get the training from very early life. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.15. The soul takes a human form first. Originally, the living entity is a spiritual being. But when he desires to enjoy this material world, he comes down. We can understand that the living entity first accepts a body that is human in form. But gradually, due to his degraded activities, he falls into lower forms of life, into the animal, plant, and aquatic forms. By the gradual process of evolution, the living entity again attains the body of a human being and is given another chance to get out of the process of transmigration. If he again misses his chance in the human form to understand his position, he is again placed in the cycle of birth and death in various types of bodies. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.29.4. The science of reincarnation is unknown to modern scientists. This science of transmigration is completely unknown to modern scientists. So-called scientists do not like to bother with these things, because if they would at all consider this subtle subject matter and the problems of life, they would see that their future is very dark. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.28.21. Ignorance of reincarnation is dangerous. Modern civilization is based on family comforts, the highest standard of amenities, and therefore, after retirement, everyone expects to live a very comfortable life in a well-furnished home decorated with fine ladies and children, without any desire to get out of such a comfortable home. High government officers and ministers stick to their prized posts until death, and they neither dream nor desire to get out of homely comforts. Bound by such hallucinations, materialistic man prepare various plans for a still more comfortable life. But suddenly, cruel death comes without mercy and takes away the great plan maker against his desire, forcing him to give up the present body for another body. Such a plan maker is thus forced to accept another body in one of the 84 lakh species of life, according to the fruits of the work he has performed. In the next life, persons who were too much attached to family comforts are generally awarded lower species of life on account of sinful acts performed during a long duration of sinful life, and thus all the energy of the human life is spoiled. In order to be saved from the danger of spoiling the human form and being attached to unreal things, one must take warning of death at the age of 50, if not earlier. The principle is that one should take it for granted that the death warning is already there. Even prior to the attainment of 50 years of age, and thus at any stage of life, one should prepare himself for a better next life. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.16. And unto dust thou shalt return. When we die, this material body composed of 5 elements, earth, water, air, fire, and ether, decomposes and the gross materials return to the elements. Or as Christian Bible says, dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. In some societies, the body is burned, in others it is buried, and in others it is thrown to animals. In India, the Hindus burn the body, and thus the body is transformed into ashes. Ash is simply another form of earth. Christians bury the body, and after some time in the grave, the body eventually turns to dust, which again, like ash, is another form of earth. There are other societies like Parsi community in India that neither burn nor bury the body, but throw it to the vultures, and vultures immediately come to eat the body, and then the body is eventually transformed into stool. So in any case, this beautiful body which we are soaping and caring for so nicely will eventually turn into either stool, ashes, or dust. At death, the finer elements mind, intelligence, and ego carry this small particle of spirit soul to another body to suffer or enjoy according to one's work. The path of perfection, 101. Astrology and reincarnation. Astronomical calculations of stellar influences upon a living being are not suppositions, but are factual as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. Every living being is controlled by the laws of nature at every minute, just as a citizen is controlled by the influence of the state. The state laws are grossly observed, but the laws of material nature, being subtle to our gross understanding, cannot be experienced grossly. The law of nature is so subtle that every part of our body is influenced by the respective stars, and a living being obtains his working body to fulfill his terms of imprisonment by the manipulation of such astronomical influences. A man's destiny is therefore ascertained by the birth time constellation of stars, and a factual horoscope is made by a learned astrologer. It is a great science, and misuse of a science does not make it useless. This suitable arrangement of astral influences is never a creation of man's will, but is the arrangement of the superior management of agency of the Supreme Lord. Of course, the arrangement is made according to the good or bad deeds of the living beings. Herein lies the importance of pious acts performed by the living being. Only by pious acts can one be allowed to get good wealth, good education, and beautiful features. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.12.12. Editor's note: the term learned astrologer in this selection refers to one fully learned in the exacting Vedic science of astrology. in comparison with which modern popular astrology is a foolish exercise in sentimentality compounded with error. Your thoughts create your next body. That subtle forms exist in the ether has been proven by modern science by transmission of television, by which forms of photographs of one place are transmitted to another place by the action of the ethereal element. Within the Srimad Bhagavatam is the potential basis of great scientific research work, for it explains how subtle forms are generated from the ethereal element, what their characteristics and actions are, and how the tangible elements, namely air, fire, water, and earth, are manifested from the subtle form. Mental activities or psychological activities of thinking, feeling, and willing are also activities on the platform of ethereal existence. The statement in Bhagavad Gita that the mental situation at the time of death is the basis of the next birth is also corroborated in many places in the Bhagavatam. Mental existence transforms into tangible form as soon as there is an opportunity. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.26.34. Why some people can't accept reincarnation. There is life after death, and there is also the chance to free oneself from the cycle of repeated birth and death and attain a life of immortality. But because we have been accustomed to accepting one body after another since time immemorial, it is difficult for us to think of a life that is eternal. And the life of material existence is so troublesome that one may think that if there is an eternal life, that life must be troublesome also. For example, a diseased man who is taking very bitter medicine and who is lying down in bed, eating there and passing stool and urine there, unable to move, may find his life so intolerable that he thinks, let me commit suicide. Similarly, materialistic life is so miserable that in desperation one sometimes takes to a philosophy of voidism or impersonalism to try to negate his very existence and make everything zero. Actually, however, becoming zero is not possible, nor it is necessary. We are in trouble in our material condition, but when we get out of our material condition, we can find real life, eternal life. Teachings of Queen Kunti, Purport 107. Just a few more years. Karma is the aggregate, fruitive activities conducted to make this body comfortable or uncomfortable. We have actually seen that when one man was about to die, he requested his physician to give him a chance to live 4 more years so that he could finish his plans. This means that while dying, he was thinking of his plans. After his body was destroyed, he doubtlessly carried his plans with him by means of subtle body, composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Thus he would get another chance by the grace of the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul who is always within the heart. In the next birth, one acquires remembrance from the Super Soul and begins to execute plans begun in the previous life. Situated on the vehicle given by the material nature and reminded by the Super Soul within the heart, the living entity struggles all over the universe to fulfill his plans. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.29.62. So let's conclude here for today. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.